What's up, guys? Robbie Reyes here. Going to be doing a quick commentary on this gameplay that I got against the what do you call it? The Remnant. They're like the robot class in this game. This was the game I did right after getting my level 20 Vanguard. No. I'm sorry. This is the gameplay I did after my first gold match, because I had like a little sliver of XP I needed to finish getting to level 20 with this guy, and I said, hey, I'll just do a quick silver. Now, it was unknown, and since it was silver, I didn't want to waste my cryo and incendiary ammo, because that stuff is like so crucial to my Vanguard doing well, because my gun, I'm really relying on my gun to help me against armor. I went for the shield damage on my Nova, because, and we probably discussed this in the other videos, but against Ket, you definitely want the shield damage, because, you know, the guy with the LMG, the little assassin dude, and even against the Remnant, most of these enemies have shields, and it makes it much easier fighting them. As you can see, like, I mean, it really helps out. And the, what's the other guys? The Merc group, yeah, armor damage would be much better, because they have so many little guys running around with armor. It would be so nice to have that. But the problem is, and the reason why I made the choice, is because 9 times out of 10, like, although the boss enemies in this game are big armored targets, I'm talking about like the real boss enemies, that big like Atlas mech, basically, and the giant monster that the Ket has, and they also have like the floaty guy on the Ket team, and then these guys, they just have that massive robot, and just charging and noving is just not going to be an effective source of damage against them. So right off the bat, cross out a bunch of the armored targets. I mean, it may be in time, but you know, for right now we're kind of playing a little bit safe. So I'm running around and killing all the minions, and then you know, when it's a safe situation, I'll kind of do a little bit of charging and noving against the bosses, but for the most part, I'm relying on my gun to do some damage to them. Because you just don't even want to forget, like, the fact that the charging and noving is not effective source of damage to those enemies, just because you don't want to be close to them, because you don't want to get sync killed, you don't want to get grabbed. In general, they just put out a lot of DPS, those bosses. Like, I don't even want to be, like, out in the open on the field when they're around, because sometimes I don't know that they're even aiming at me, and I'll just start to take so much damage, and I'll be like, what is going on? Like, this can't be minions. And sure enough, I'll turn around and I'll see there's like a massive boss that's like, you know, doing damage to me. One thing I will say about that, just a little side note, I really like how they've really upped the size of the boss enemies in this game. If you look back at Mass Effect 3, like the Atlas, the Banshee, the Prime, and the Praetorian was pretty big, but they weren't super big bosses. In this game, they went all out. The bosses are huge. They're massive. And I think it's a good evolution for the bosses to be big like that. It makes them really, really stand out and menacing for sure. But yeah. So I put Disruptor rounds on because I didn't want to waste cryo and incendiary, like the original point I was talking about, because the cryo and incendiary ammo is really getting this guy going on gold against the armor targets. Like the game was so much easier, and I would still much rather use incendiaries over cryos on gold with this guy, because the fire explosions are good and you do much more damage to armor targets. So I noticed a definite difference going from cryo to incendiary, or from incendiary to cryo. My second gold gameplay that I'm going to upload is going to have me using cryo rounds on gold. I was a little bit, the whole team and me were a lot more mobile in that game. In my first gold game, the team kind of wanted to sit back, so I kind of had to guard them in the back. In the second gameplay of the team, we were all over the place, so it's nice to see that's happening. It was the same deal with Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. You know, the first couple times, people would kind of play very cautiously, trying to hold down one spot. Not necessarily camp, but just really kind of like as everyone's figuring out the game, figuring out the enemies and stuff, people definitely feel more secure knowing they're holding down one spot, and then like they have their escapes if they need to. But it only took one match of that kind of gameplay style, because that was my first gold match, and that's what the team was doing. Jumped in the second gold match, and everyone was kind of just running all over the place doing their thing. As definitely rolling as a team, guys, though, that's not going to go away. That's a staple to this game. It's teamwork at its core. You're really, the success is really dependent on rolling as a team. That's how fast you're going to kill the enemies. Think about it like this, guys. Like, you could run around and kind of lone wolf, like, destroy enemies. You could do that, but the enemies are just going to die faster, obviously, and you're going to finish the wave faster if the whole team is kind of converging, because you're detonating other people's combos, you're setting up combos for other people to detonate. You know, you're giving buffs to people. That's a lot more prevalent in this game. It seems like every character has his own weird little way to provide a buff to teammates. You know, I mean, now in this game, it's not just like you're going to tactical cloak yourself. I've seen that people are tactical cloaking you. So there's benefits of rolling together as a team. The thing about the Vanguard is oftentimes you're just living on such a thread of health and thread of... there's such a short time span between you and death that you need to keep charging all over the place. And while that mobility is good, oftentimes you will get separated from your team. So that does happen with the Vanguard. And it's not even like the Vanguard's fault, because like to stay alive, he needs to keep on charging. And in the split second when you choose which enemy you're going to charge, oftentimes it's really far from the rest of your team. And then the good news in this game is you have the excellent mobility with those dodges, so you can really get in and out of situations. So yeah, it is tough for the Vanguard to kind of stick with his team, and just because his primary attack is based on charging. Now, we're talking about gold here. Silver, it really doesn't matter. Everyone can do whatever the fuck they want. Silver. Gold, you kind of got to play the team a little bit. And I'm sure gold will get to a point, too, where everyone can kind of do their own thing. But right now, no one really has good guns. No one really has good equipment. No one's... people are still figuring out these characters. So, yeah, it is best to roll as a team for now, for sure. And even later, it will be best still. You'll definitely finish the game faster if you roll as a team. But, yeah, so this is just silver. We're just kind of screwing around. But my whole point of this video was I wanted to show you guys a quick kind of unintentional test that happened. So, obviously, in the Mass Effect series, Disruptor rounds have been like, you know, the bane of freaking synthetic enemies. It just decimates the Geth, or the, you know, it's meant to do really well against Geth and robots in general. So, and I didn't want to waste on gold. Would I unknown? Would I put disruptors on? No. And if I knew we were fighting robots, Remnant, then I would probably put the disruptor rounds on for sure. Because this is a silver match, and I put the disruptor rounds on, and it just screws them up. Just watch this. And I'm getting all kinds of tech combos and stuff too by you know, I'm getting my body combos, but I'm also throwing in the tech combos. And with incendiaries and cryos, yeah, you can get incendiary combos and cryo combos, but obviously against the Remnant, the tech combos are going to do really well, and disruptor ammo in general will do well. See, this is an armored target, but I'm shooting at it with disruptor rounds, and since it's a robot, it's taking a lot more damage. And I would like to see maybe a comparison of like the incendiaries versus the disruptors rounds, and see what the time to kill difference is. But to me, it feels like these disruptors are doing, obviously, really good against the Remnant. So yeah, just again, I was at level 19. There was a little sliver of XP that I needed to get on to level 20 on the Vanguard. And I said I could jump into a gold match, and like the lobbies weren't looking very good, kind of low level people. So I just said I'll do a quick silver, and I'll waste the disruptor rounds on it. And luckily we got the Remnant, and this is the end result. Just this shotgun with Disruptor rounds. I'm just absolutely mercilessly destroying them. I'm still doing my biotic explosions and everything, but I'm throwing in the tech burst here and there. I don't know if they call it a tech burst anymore, actually. I think it's called the tech combo now. As the Nova and biotic charge and everything got, basically as the Nova got more powerful, I stopped using the melee as much. And first of all, you can't use the melee. As I said in my other video against the Remnant, the melee is just not effective against these guys because half of them are fucking flying all over the goddamn place. So you can't really reach them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, obviously like the walking table people, like, yeah, you could like melee the shit out of them and get your shield back, but a lot of these enemies are up in the air, so it's just not viable. Good news is the Nova is doing extra damage to shield and prime him for biotics, so you just gotta kind of, you know, Nova him, then charge him, biotic explosion, or Nova and then shockwave, biotic explosion, or, you know, shoot him with the disruptors and detonate like that. See, like right here, I got a biotic combo on that. I think I'm gonna go for a tech combo right about now. Yeah, see that? Just kind of using the Disruptor rounds to set him up, then detonating with either charge or Nova. This is really good right here. It's Nova with so many people on the biotic charge. Now remember, there's only a 5-second window where they're primed after your Nova that you have to detonate them. So that is something to keep in mind. I'm really excited now that I got this. This video was before I got my Vanguard to level 20. Obviously, I'm level 19 here. But now that I've gotten him to level 20, I'm super happy because the final evolution of this guy's weapon and power damage passive is really good, guys. It basically, this is such a strange thing, and this just kind of shows how different this game is from Mass Effect 3 in some ways. I didn't max out fitness on my Vanguard. I maxed out the passives because the last evolution of the fitness was that I would get my shield back if my health went below 25% every 10 seconds. Or something along those. My numbers may not be right, but that's the concept. And the other one was, I'm not sure, but the other one was for basically probably the charge Nova spam build, where you have 75% recharge on charge, and your Nova uses your shield. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so the other option was to get 10% of your shield back when you kill an enemy with biotic power. So for me, for this guy, that was not useful at all. So I would have definitely liked to get that evolution where if my health goes below 25%, I get my shield back. If it's within that 10-second recharge, it can only happen once every 10 seconds. But then I saw the passives for the, you know, and the just weapon and power damage, and it looked really appealing, guys. It was like good, more power damage and force, that kind of thing. So, and I do feel like the Nova, it's doing good, but it's still not hitting as hard as I would like it to. After I put points in that, it was hitting pretty hard. It was kind of where I would expect it to be. Still not like great damaging power, but the damage is really going to come from priming them with that biotic combo and detonating that. That's going to be the good thing. So, yeah, about this gameplay, you know, obviously I'm level 19 in here and I can still get dropped. I'm not using a cyclonic or anything. Ultimately, I do believe the best gear that's going to be out there for the Vanguard, it's going to be the same exact thing as Mass Effect 3, at least with this setup that I'm using. If you are going to be going to Gold Unknown, I'd recommend taking a cyclonic and incendiary rounds. That's going to help you out a lot. And save the teammate right over there. I cannot stress how useful it seems to be having a Vanguard in these uploads and these kind of things, because the other teammates don't have like great ways to get their shield back. They kind of have to sit in cover and the enemies all close, and then the Vanguard's job is to really just mess the enemy's day up once they close the distance. And that's why they are actually very useful in the uploads. One of the problems with the old Mass Effect games was, in Mass Effect 3, it's hard to believe that we only have had one multiplayer. It's kind of weird when you think we've had a trilogy and the multiplayer was only added in the third game. But in Mass Effect 3, the, what do you call it? The enemies would not close the distance as fast as they do in this game. At least it's my opinion that it feels like that. So obviously some of them would, but in general, it feels like these enemies come straight to you. You got an upload, you got devices, whatever you got going on, they come and close the distance real fast. And I like it because, again, I play Vanguard, so in the uploads I was always like, shit, just like sitting there and trying to shoot them from far, and I'm like, I'm not effective. Now if they get right up in the upload, I can have a very valuable job to the team of like taking out the enemies in the upload and keeping them out of the upload. Very useful. And devices as well. This guy is such a lifesaver on devices because you'll have a teammate on the device and like the other teammates will try and like put deeps on the enemies that are shooting at the teammate that's on the device, but no one can quite draw the enemy's attention like a Vanguard can. No one can quite say, hey, everybody shoot at me, I'm gonna stun you all, knock you all on the ground, and you guys are, all the enemies are shooting at me, but I'm gonna get my shield back in just about a couple seconds, and you get your shield back. No, you know, it's the Vanguard's job to kind of just be this big whirling distraction of damage and tankiness. It's weird because the tank build on this guy, on the human Vanguard, in a lot of ways does a lot of damage. It gets damage buffs that the Nova spam build wouldn't get, which you would think is just kind of supposed to be the DPS kind of build. The Nova spam is definitely going to be the glass cannon type of setup. Me and my buddy DK, who's also a sub, were discussing that a lot. But yeah, not much to this gameplay, guys. I just wanted to discuss the game in general and show you how Disruptor rounds work against the Remnant very well. That's my assessment. And let's get into the... I do want to show you guys the medals at the end of these games, because the medals are going to give you a great rundown of how you're playing, because if I watched the little evolution of the medals I was getting compared to my first games, compared to these later games, I had a lot more melee kills in my earlier games, and now I'm getting a lot more biotic kills because my Nova has gotten better, right? You know, I have started unlocking the melee upgrade for the shotgun, so I'm very excited about that and probably putting that on soon. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate, like, comment, subscribe.